Hello, KP sisters. What's up, KP sisters? What up, what up? Sisters in the house. And McKenzie. Hey guys, I'm McKenzie. I was asked to do a talk with you guys today about service. Unfortunately, I am working right now, so that's why I'm coming to you via video and my room. I feel like a YouTuber right now. I feel like I should be vlogging. So if I do very well on this, just tell me, and I might just come back and give you guys some more. So first of all, I'm going to just talk about my experience in Puerto Rico first, just to give you guys a kind of backstory, and then I will put in what I think service is, how we should be embodying it, and then applying that as well to Puerto Rico, so you guys can see where those kind of line up and whatnot. And I'll be trying to put in some pictures so you can get some look into what Puerto Rico is like and what I was doing. There's probably going to be some food, there's going to be some real cool like landscape, beaches, but also actual work that we did, so which is what we're going to be talking about anyway. I went to Puerto Rico with group mission trips, which I went on these mission trips when I was in high school with them, and then I started working for them 2 years ago, and then this last year I said, look, to my boss, I want to go to Puerto Rico. I don't care like what I have to do to get to there. Just tell me when I need to apply and I will. So I found out that the only thing I needed to apply was to be 1, a good communicator and problem solver, 2, speak Spanish, and 3, love the Lord. So perfect. Got on a plane, left, and went there. What we did was build roofs, first of all, because of the hurricane that went through just 9 months before we were there. Blew off and tore up so much of the land, leaving so many people without electricity. 100% of them were without electricity at least for a week in the beginning, and even to this day, some people still don't have electricity or water. We were making, building roofs, we were painting, we were just doing any kind of construction, help around the house, anything that we could. And this was through the government, so it wasn't just us coming and saying, hey, we want to help. It's saying, who are the people most in need and how can we help them? So I was there with about 9 other people that spoke Spanish. We were there to be the middleman, so between the mayor's office and the people coming in. We'd have between 30 to 90 volunteers coming every single week. This could be from high schoolers to, we had an 85-year-old once. She was good job, Karen. She did great. So they would come in on Saturday around 2 p.m. and they would come in. We do Bible studies with them every single night. We would lead worship, devotion, stuff like that, so they could get grounded in the Lord before they go and do their service. We'd have those at night, and then Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, they would do work from around 8 a.m. until whenever they wanted to get done, so like 4 p.m. and come back and just discuss what we thought about the day. What did we learn? What did we give? What did we receive? Because the Puerto Rican culture is crazy, just loving. Very different from the US. This was one thing that we had to talk about with our participants every week, was that they value relationships so much more than we do. And American culture very much wants success. We want money. And even if we want to say that we don't, it's just ingrained in us. If they can either choose between making it to a meeting on time or doing something for a relationship, such as helping out a sister or a friend, they will choose the sister and the friend. And when they get to the meeting late, the people in the meeting will understand. It's not going to be something that they're going to get reprimanded for later. It's very much a relational culture, and that is completely awesome. That's what the culture was like. That's what the serving was like. I was up at 6 a.m. every day, went to bed around 11 p.m., and that happened every single week. On Saturday, the teams would leave at 8 a.m., and then we'd have new ones coming in at 2. So it was a completely exhausting experience, but very much worth it. And I want to go into the service side now of how I was doing what I was doing, like what was my mindset. We think of service in the US as being something that you have to take time out of your day for. You have to have a weekend where you're going to go serve with Habitat. You're going to take a week out so you can go on a mission trip. We think of it as service trips. We think of them as service days, service hours, but I don't think in a biblical sense that we are called to that at all. I think we're called to be servants, not people who choose to serve. So for instance, John 12:26, and it says, "Whoever serves me must follow me. Where I am, my servant also will be." In this sense, we are first part of God, second, we are servants, and third, we are us. We very much lose this sense of how service should really be when we're so caught up in ourselves. Like I said, Americans love success, we love money, we love getting things, but how can we give those things back once we have them? We think we have to take time to do that, but really all we have to do is have the mindset that we were supposed to be servants in the first place, and it'll come naturally. And I found this in my summer as everything that I did was for a purpose of serving. I would get up and I'd help set out breakfast and lunch, and then when the teams let off, I'd go around my whole day checking in on them. Once or twice I did go to this place called Sweet Cakes. It was delicious. They would give you these things called frappes. Another picture will be up. So that's the first one. We need to serve because it's a part of us, not because we want to improve something. We can't just take out time to do it. We have to integrate that time into our being. Second of all, we take time out because we want to focus on us. We have a very us culture. Again, we want to say I, we want to say me, we don't want to say we. And we think that this is going to help us if we just think of ourselves and we think of improving ourselves. This is going to make us better, and then we can serve people. But really, science shows that when we think about I all the time, it actually gives us heart problems. It decreases our health. But when we start being compassionate and helping other people, and we think about we instead of I mean, our blood pressure goes down, we are able to think better, our memory is better, and knowing that we're living for other people will help us just live better in every sense. Every single night when I'd sit down and do my devotions to prepare for that night of worship, I'd think about, how is this group different from the last one? What do they need to hear? And maybe God would give something in my heart to say, you need to speak about this week. I ended up, I think it was the 6th week, so we had 8 weeks. The 6th week, I was pretty tired. I was ready to just like take a nap. I think one day I said, I'm just gonna take a nap for 30 minutes. It turned into 3 hours. Like, I was passed out. That week, I had spoken to one of the girls. Her name was Heather, and I still speak to her to this day. We were talking about mental health issues and just like how she struggles with stuff and how she feels alone. And I felt called to kind of just step out and say some stuff about my own with my anxiety. And so I did for that worship night. And we did these things called care cards at the end. They're kind of like warm fuzzies if you've ever done those. But I had so many people write back that said, thank you for sharing about that. Like, I don't like to talk about it with other people, but I'm struggling with that too. When I go home, I'm going to talk to my parents about it more. Like, those kind of transformations were the best that you could see out of someone. And it's taking that time to think, who are these people? In what ways do they need to be served? And how is it different than what I would assume they need to be served as? It's looking at what are their needs, not mine. And the last one, I think, when we think about service, is that we need to think more about what we're here on earth to do. So there's this book that I've been reading. It's called The Book of Joy, and both the Archbishop in South Africa and oh my gosh, I'm blanking. The Dalai Lama. Yes, they talk about how you can be joyful, and it's so much about not thinking about ourselves. For instance, I have these written down. It's perspective, humility, humor, acceptance, forgiveness, gratitude, compassion, and generosity. All of those things, those 8 things, are supposed to, if you think about those in your life enough, it's going to give you so much more joy than any other concept or any other thing you could think about in a day. But there's this phrase that the Archbishop uses, and it's part of the African culture. It's called Ubuntu. And Ubuntu means a person is a person through other persons. So it's the thought that if you have a piece of bread, you can either eat it yourself or you can give it to someone else. And giving this bread would actually be better because you are only able to share it because you have someone else there, and you're only able to eat it because someone has given you the ability to do that, because you were born, because of your parents. You're here on this earth because other people have helped you to get where you are. Like when we think about Ubuntu, we have to think, how am I able to be a person for another person to be a person? I know that's very crazy, it's a little paradox there, you gotta really get your mind working. But how have you been gifted for you to go and gift other people? How can you help another person to be able to understand what their gifts are? And I worked every single day with people that had been down on their luck. They had their houses torn apart. They had lost family members in this hurricane. And being able to just be there and say, hey, I flew all this way. I have been working here for 2 months and I am here to love you, and that's it. That gives someone so much more of a happiness in their life, so much more validation than anything could ever. And that's where service ultimately boils down to. It's being a servant, it's taking your time out to say we, not me, and then figuring out how you can best make that me into we. Anyway, I'm McKenzie. Again, if you think I did really great in this and you think I should vlog or like put stuff on YouTube, maybe like start like a Bible series for chapel. Tori, this is for you. Take me up on this and put me in chapel doing vlogs. Go serve, love other people, love God, all the things. Bye.